Hello guys, this is Zxyc here, and today we're going to be doing a replay analysis of a TI game. So this is from the group stages. This is going to be Team Empire versus LGD, and the reason why I'm doing this game is because, Arc Warden was picked, obviously, and I'm excited to see it. But everyone thought the hero would be picked more, and I even thought he would be picked more than this, but he's literally only been picked once so far, which is way lower than you'd expect. But I knew that he wouldn't get picked too often because the hero's very easy to counter, so he's like 10th pick material, like situational pick. But I didn't expect it to be like one pick in 2 days. So I'm going through the picks. I just want to see like when they picked them. Obviously it's gonna be a last pick. Like there's no way they didn't not last pick Arc Warden, but yeah. So it was a last pick. And by last pick I mean literally like 10th pick, right? Obviously last pick it in your team, but if they get one more hero to counter it, especially if it's a core, then usually it's not as good. But even if they counter it with one hero, if the other 4 don't counter it, then it's fine, right? But here this is a 10th pick, complete last pick, so it's like the best case scenario for an Arc Warden, right, to pick it 10th. So let's just look at the draft real quick and talk about the heroes that Arc Warden does or does not like, right? So left to right, Kunkka, it's not the end of the world, it's not a big deal. It's annoying because X is huge range and then the heroes can get on top of you, but it's the same way for every other hero, so I don't think it's a big enough deal to talk about. Oracle's pretty annoying because of him having pretty much 2 ways to take off your like utility items. So the first way is obviously his ultimate. He can take off your Flux, he can take off your Orchids, your Hex, whatever it is that you do on the enemy hero, you can take that off with his ultimate, but you can also take it off with his Q, right, which purges. So he actually has 2 ways to take off your stuff, aka your Flux or any of these items, which is really annoying. Oracle's one of the more annoying supports to deal with as an Arc Warden, because as long as he's there you pretty much can't kill anyone. And on top of all of that, Arc Warden, especially for like the first, I would have to say 25 minutes of the game, he's mostly magic damage, maybe even longer, but he's mostly magic damage, and Oracle can just give 100% magic resistance to anyone. So anyone that's like fluxed and has like your E is flying into them, your spark rates, he could just put it on and then just all that damage is being negated. So Oracle's very annoying in my opinion. Magnus, as always, just another hero that can initiate on you, go on top of you, a hero that can very easily get on you and then stun you for a very long time. You can't really itemize for RP, right? So that's annoying. TB, it's like a love-hate relationship, but it's more Arc Warden favored, because what TB wants to do is he just wants to like walk down lanes and push with his like huge attack range. Like if he gets like Dragon Lance or something and does a lot of damage, he can just bubble towers. So TB has a really hard time going high ground against Arc Warden. So Arc Warden will beat that. But why I said it's a love-hate relationship is because also TB can push towers really, really, really fast and won't give Arc Warden the time he needs to like get items and delay the game if they could just finish fast. And that's what Terrorblade does, he finishes fast. Now what does this all depend on? It all depends on how good of a start Arc Warden gets. And that of course depends on what lane you play the Arc Warden in. If you play Arc Warden, let's just say mid for example, and you're against the Terrorblade, you're gonna have a lot of trouble because Terrorblade destroys you mid in the mid lane, and then he'll just like, you'll be so underfarmed and he'll just be walking down lanes taking your towers, and it won't be a good game for you. But let's just say you dodge his lane, you go short, you're getting good farm, he's getting good farm, Arc Warden will beat Terrorblade at that point. So it all depends on the start you get. And the last hero is Leshrac. Now, Leshrac is not one of those heroes that can get on top of you, but he can edict towers that even if you're trying to protect them with your bubble, it won't work. The same way Pugna can blast towers, the same way Jakiro can like, melt towers. So these heroes can go through your bubble, and of course that's always annoying that Leshrac can just push right through. DP as well, of course, is another one. So Leshrac's one of those heroes that can push through your towers. But remember, Leshrac, unlike these other heroes, has a very short cast range on his edict. Like he has to be pretty close, and for him to be that close to the tower, like it's very easy to just either push him off the tower or just straight up kill him. He does have an Oracle obviously, so he has a good save support, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be like game breaking just because it's a Lesh. And like, I don't see it being that big of a deal, but it is something to consider, right? And Lesh has to stay there, unlike Jakiro, who could just shoot and walk away. Or unlike Pugna, who can blast and walk away. And obviously Pugna, because of, you know, like Lens and his cast range, talent, and all these things, he can start blasting from very, very far. And he could, like, pretty safely blast towers without, like, being under threat. Unless your team has some sort of, like, forced movement ability. So, like Magnus, for example, or Poker. Any of these things that can very easily catch him. Like Bat Rider, obviously one of the bigger ones. Outside of those, it's going to be hard for you guys to go on the Pugna if his team's right behind him. But here, Lesh, like I said, short range. So overall, the draft, it's not too bad for Arc Warden, right? Of course, this all depends on the game. The heroes with him, the only one that really benefits him the most is Faceless Void. And of course, Faceless Void, AA blasting on top of the Chrono or anything like that, that's huge. But he's really good with Faceless because he has huge cast range. You can just bubble, stand at the back, auto attacking. He could set up ease on the Chrono from really far distance, which will always connect pretty much. He can even bubble the Faceless Void, who, you know, as you guys know, has fairly slow attack speed but does a lot of damage. So if you bubble him, he'll end up dealing a decent amount of damage. You can actually transition to a very heavy, like, right-click oriented build without even building DPS items, right? Just because he has bubble on his team. So I really like Faceless Void with Arc Warden. You know, the Razor, not a big deal. It's just gonna be like a frontline hero. And Spirit Breaker, you know, just a solid stunner, right? So overall, I think the draft is fine in terms of an Arc Warden game. Let's get into the game itself now. For the items, he went the Wraithband build. So there's a bunch of like different builds that you're seeing now, which is like Bassi or Wraithband or just the stat one that I talk about. I'm gonna pause it because something's happening. So what's happening here, real quick, I'll just talk about it, is they already saw that they're invading, right? They're invading the enemy bounty. So this guy is like, okay, let's pressure, right? Like you can see his items, a lot of regen with a stout shield. So you can man up on Arc Warden, like 100%. And I'm pretty sure Arc Warden is just gonna, like, you can see I already got Flux. So he's gonna Flux and probably still try to get the bounty rune. And even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. This guy's still gonna be Flux, so you can walk out of his range. But you can see he's also faster than you. So we'll see what happens here. But anyways, the item choice. The Bassi is just like if you're gonna be doing a lot of E zoning and you're uncontested, you can go Bassi. Normally though, Wraithband's just better stats, but of course you don't get the regen, but you can just go a kill after, right? That's the nice part about it. Now, what is this lane? It's most likely going to be Magnus with like an occasional Kunkka, right? So it's not the worst lane, not too hard compared to like, let's just say like a Furion or something, which is way harder for Arc Warden to deal with. So Magnus, I would say Wraithband is more than fine. Like you just want as high damage as you can to push him off the lane, to zone him, to last hit, whatever it is that you need. But you don't like need the stat / regen build that I do against really hard lanes, which is like, you know, the whole Tango, double branch circlet, which is like for magic stick. Let's just say I'm against like Bat Rider or something, and a +1 that's really strong, Bat Rider Sanking, right? That's pretty hard. So then I would do that build, which builds you into a early magic wand. And then you just have regen, and then you can have like a mango, right? Just sitting on the side. That's pretty much the build that I would do against a lane that's really hard like that, especially a lane like Bat Rider that casts a lot of spells. So against him, I agree with the Wraithband. So yeah, he does end up trying to go for it. He does get the bounty rune, and then now he's just, yeah, hitting, charges coming in. I mean, they're just gonna get decent damage here, nothing special, unless, yeah. See, they forced out the skewer from him. He's flasking. He's gonna be full HP. So he does have charge available. Ooh, that's really strong. He does have Flux available. They're actually gonna get him. Nope, TP's out. Really well done. He does TP here. Okay, so in terms of the lane, this is gonna be a pretty simple lane. Okay, there's not going to be a lot to talk about. He's realistically just going to be doing this, like last hitting and zoning this guy out. Spirit Breaker's literally going to leave, probably. He's going to be doing his own thing. They don't need him. down here. And this guy's probably just going to be, yeah, stack pulling and, you know, just the standard stuff. And he's going to be most likely free farming. And I think a free farming Arc Warden, unless things go wrong, should be able to do pretty well against their team. They don't have like a strong counter, they just have really annoying heroes, but no like ridiculously strong counter. So it should be a good Arc Warden game, in my opinion. But we'll see. I'm gonna speed it up because again, I'm like this laning phase is gonna be him auto attacking, last hitting pretty much. And again, I don't think there's that much to talk about because he's gonna be uncontested most of the time. He did go boots first. I like that here. It just like ensures that your lane goes well, because if this guy's still existing, right? Like with boots first, you can see he's at 310, and now with your boots. By the way, this is bootless. He's at 310. You are booted here at 330. Like it's just so slow. But now with boots, obviously, since you are faster than him, you could very easily walk up, flux him, attack him, etc. Like just push him out of the lane completely. I see it's still level 1. They are deciding to dive here, and they are getting first blood. So he's really low. I would try to fly myself regen. Obviously the courier is going, you know, middle, but I would buy myself a clarity and a set of regen. Unless one of the supports do it for you, obviously, then that's fine. He's low mana though, he does need that clarity. So he's not buying it. The reason why is now like you have no regen. Any damage that obviously the offlaner cannot touch you right now. Right, like look at him, he's just getting completely zoned. He's having a really hard game. These are like the perfect conditions for an Arc Warden game where you have free farm and the offlaner's feeding. Right, so usually you don't get this, but if you do, this is like the perfect conditions for a carry because you're gonna get a really early Midas. Like if you're just free farming, sure, okay, if they can't stop you, that's fine. But if the offlane is feeding on top of the free farm, it's like it just accelerates your Midas so much. And an early Midas is just so powerful on this hero. A lot of players I see, they kind of, there we go, the clarity, beautiful, yay, good job. A lot of players I see overemphasize the early Midas to the point where they like skip boots and go glove. But I don't like doing that because it's very easy to lose the lane at that point. Your hero's like super sluggish and slow, and if like they just get good rotations or good movements, obviously this game, if there was one game that I've seen where like in a pro scene, I mean, Arc Warden could have skipped boots, it might have been this one, but still, I still wouldn't have skipped boots here. Because like, you know, let's just say the heroes were like I said, Bad Rider, you know, sinking, right? Even if you have both your supports sitting here and you were winning the lane, the minute that they leave to do anything else around the map, like right now, how you're alone, they can run you over, right? The Bad Rider sinking can run you over. Now obviously here it's a Magnus, that's why it's harder for a Magnus to run you over compared to those other heroes. But it's still possible, right? Like with like Oracle, Kunkka, let's just say they both for some reason come bottom, they can kill you, right? If you didn't have boots. With boots it's a little harder because again they don't have like the best catch or the best stuns. It's hard for them to get an X off on you. You have to start off with a torrent, and this guy has to follow it up with a purge, and then, you know, Magnus can maybe get on top of you. But that's why, again, like to emphasize, boots is actually very important. There's 3-0 so far. As far as the leveling goes, so when you look at this game, you have to ask yourself, how good is Flux? Now in lane, it's amazing against Magnus, but you're already winning this lane and Magnus already can't contest you, right? But in game and in team fights, it's pretty bad this game, right? Like there's Oracle who can disable it in 2 different ways, right? Like I said, his Q, his R, both of them. There's this guy who can very easily just create illusions, and disable it, or send illusions to allied heroes, disabling it. So it's not the best, right? This isn't the best Flux game. Now, I don't mind the level 3 Flux here at 5, you know, whatever. He just wanted to make sure that the lane goes as smoothly as possible, even though it's already going pretty smooth. But I wouldn't really get Flux past this. I wouldn't get level 4 Flux at 7. I would actually start to max out Spark Wraith and maybe get the value point in Bubble at 9. Now, why do I say this? Because if you hit level 4 Flux at 7, that means that you're gonna be either missing, because you want the Bubble, you need the value point by 9, right? So you have to have this one level by 9 because of the TB. You need to be able to slow down his pushes or anything like that, or whenever you're fighting, it's just so much value to get that one level. It's 50 attack speed for 3.5 seconds on you and your illusion. You get double the value because your illusion can now cast it, and more often than not your illusion will have extra mana to cast it. So you need this bubble at level 9, especially this game. Like I'm saying, this game is it's really, really good. So you're not gonna skip the one level of this. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you hit level 9 and you have level 4 Flux, that means you're gonna have level 3 Spark Wraith. Now when you hit level 10, you have to choose between level 4 Spark Wraith or your talent, right? And those are both pretty good. So why I would not get level 4 Flux this game is because of that. Because by the time you're level 10, you want your talent and you want level 4 Spark Wraith. So by the time I'm level 10 this game, I would have level 3 Flux, level 1 Bubble, level 4, level 1 talent, and ultimate. And that's what you want. And this is why I don't mind the level 3 Flux at 5, but hopefully he doesn't get level 4 Flux at 7. That would be pretty bad in my opinion. It kind of messes up his mid game pretty hard. It makes the spells that you want, or the talent, unavailable. One of them would have to be unavailable. There's no way you'd skip Bubble this game, right? You'd get Bubble at 9 always. It's really, really good. You don't even have to get it by 9, I'm saying you have to get it by 9. So you can even get it at 8. Yeah, so it's just literally last hitting. Nothing much going on. You can see even where the supports are, so he's in like no threat at all. Magnus is level 4, you know, having a really struggle lane. Yeah, he is going on him. If Shrine is unavailable, he's dead. And it looked like, because I clicked on it, I was able to see it. Shrine was unavailable, and he is dead. Yeah. This is huge for them. The fact that the Magnus is struggling so hard is actually huge. I didn't think the early game would be so one-sided. It's actually insane. So he has his Midas at like 645, 650, that area, which is pretty good. It's beyond good. It's like amazing for you to have an early Midas this early. So he did end up getting Flux level 4, unfortunately. So here you could see the Kunkka's top, and the Midas is coming. So I'm curious whether or not he ulties for this kill and forces, like, the only way this Magnus lives is if someone TPs for him, aka Oracle, right? Oracle can save him. If Oracle doesn't TP for him, he's dead. So we'll see what he does. I'm gonna slow it down. Now, what I said is curious is, would he go for him right now, or would he wait for his Midas, which is too far realistically? He should just go for him. Because ulting, if you ulti and you know your Midas isn't on you yet, obviously you do miss out on a Midas, but this is a kill, right? That's more important. And I'm pretty sure there should be a kill unless Oracle's sitting behind him. And again, he should be, because he's not showing. And I don't think Magnus would walk up to an Arc Warden like that if Oracle wasn't behind him. He should ulti. See, he right now, he should, like, he just killed this range creep. He should ulti and Flux, right? Yeah, he didn't go for the kill for some reason. I don't know why he wouldn't go for the kill. I understand it's the whole Midas thing. I bet you anything. It's like the fact that he knows he's gonna miss a Midas, but it's a kill. Just go for it. It's 100% a kill. This is a kill, right? If he just ultied and fluxed him, the guy's dead. But I guess he gets his Midas now, right? What I would buy now is Aquila. Yeah, so what I would buy now is Aquila and a Clarity. So Bassi, Clarity. Oh, Still a kill. That's funny. He still gets the kill because he came back. Yeah. I think this is lack of experience playing against Arc Warden. That's all this is. Because he's an amazing player, right? The Magnus. Amazing player. It's just I think he's literally almost barely plays against Arc Warden. So he doesn't know the limits of the hero, doesn't know how long the ultimate lasts, all that stuff. And he's just walking into him and dying. Yep, he bought the Bassi. He bought the raindrop. I don't mind the raindrop at all. And he's going Maelstrom. Okay, they're dominating them, right? Like, they're completely dominating them. Next level, he should get Bubble. I'd be very disappointed if he doesn't get Bubble next level. Which is exactly why I didn't want level 4 Flux. Because you don't get level 4 Spark Wraith. Yeah, so his regen's coming. Here, you Flux him. See, right there, you just Flux him. It's only 75 mana to deal 300. You just Flux that. Because you don't need to commit. You're not doing anything else but Fluxing. That's it. You're just Fluxing. Right? Now, I understand your mana's kind of low, but even you're bringing regen, right? You have a Killa, you have Raindrop. You know how fast your regen goes up? With the Clarity going, right? He's at 7.2. Without the Clarity going, he'd still be at like 3. Midas is up. Yeah. So he's gonna Midas. Double Midas. Very good. I like that his ultimate is constantly using its mana. That's at least nice to see. So he did skip the bubble, which I of course have talked about and I disagree with. It's actually very, very important to get bubble, not as clearly. Obviously, one level of Flux is not even 1% close to as good as bubble. So now that he, and I think all this is to do with him maxing out Flux. So they can start pressuring the lane a bit. The Razor is probably gonna TP. Yeah. Their Void has Chrono on 15. The Void can just keep sitting top, I think, and push that tower, or pressure that tower. Arc Warden can literally just keep doing what he's doing. He got the glove, as I talked about. He got the talent to 10 because it's really good. Like that 25 attack speed talent is like amazing. Flux DPS, like I said, never. It's always going to be attack speed. If you're a core, that is. If you're a core Arc Warden. If you're a support Arc Warden, which I don't think has too much potential, it's like a super situational thing. But if you are playing support Arc Warden, you will skip your talent. You will not be getting Flux DPS. You will not be getting attack speed. You'll be getting your spells because they're just better. Alright, so Charge comes in, connects. He's level 5, unfortunately. Gets a lucky bash. Aww, he didn't trust the bash. He started walking away. Did not trust the bash. No trust in the Spirit Breaker, 17%. I don't think they had to kill anyways, but could have forced them out of the lane. Like, this Magnus is getting too much right now. TP's out. He's going to be going top. This was good. Obviously, he's scared. Midas. Okay, so let me explain something here. You see how he TP'd top first and then ultied? This is why I would like to have an extra TP. So usually 99% of Dota heroes, they TP. Who cares if they don't have a TP on them? You have 80 seconds to buy TP, right? Because you can't use it. Arc Warden's the only exception. You want to have double TP on this hero. And the only time you don't want to have double TP is if you're close to your travels and you just don't want to waste 50 gold. But other than that, you want to have a second TP on him. Why? Because if he had a TP on him right now, he could TP his clone bottom and stop this the damage on the tower, farm like 2 of these creeps probably, and just like delay a bit. And if he had bubble as well, he can bubble the tower and stuff. So you can see how strong it is. And this is all due to the fact that he only had 1 TP on him. So when he TP'd top, obviously his TP disappears from his inventory, and his clone now doesn't have the TP bottom. So it's very, very important that you carry 2 TPs on this hero. That's what I'm trying to say. And then he could have TP'd down here instead of his ultimate Like, I know it's gonna farm this, but like it could have done this anyways, and its contribution to farming this would have been, it puts an E in TP's bottom, and that's good enough. This should be walking away. See this auto attacking, not a big deal, because his team's taking top anyways, so should be walking away whichever way you want to go, right? Bottom's gone. The Razor TP is a little weird to me. This is definitely a weird TP. Right, even if he wanted to, he would have TP'd here. This was a weird TP. No one could get there. No one could help him. He can't do anything. His team can't do anything. Who knows? Okay, so he almost has his Maelstrom. Let's speed it up a bit because he's just going to be hitting creeps for now. Obviously, he could be pressuring this tower because they're showing. So how you would pressure this tower, specifically this mid tower as Arc Warden, is you would walk up, you'd place an E over here, you'd place an E behind here, you'd even place an E here, and as soon as the creep wave passes, you'd place EE. Now, of course, this requires your ultimate, and this does require, well, it doesn't require, but it would be easier with Magnetic Field. So your ultimate needs to place all these E's because it's a lot of mana for you to do, and it'd take too long, right? Placing 5 E's would take you like 20 seconds. So what you would need is you need your ultimate, and then you just kind of share the load there. Like you place it places, you place it places. And as soon as the creep wave passes, I like to place these two here. It just sees everything. It can't approach you anymore, right? You can't approach, can't approach, can't approach. It can't even smoke you because, and that's how you push these towers like risk-free almost. And the only way for them to get to you is if they have so much reach, which they don't, right? Their heroes don't have that much reach. And the most reach they have is X, and Kunkka would need a high level of X to even have that reach, but that's not nearly enough. This is, like, you could see, I would say, about 15 to 2000 range, depending on how you place them, right? So there's no way someone would actually be able to get on top of you unless Magnus gets Blink, right? Before the Magnus has Blink, there's just no way. And I doubt he has Blink. Yeah, I would have liked to see him pressure mid instead of hitting these jungle creeps here. It's not even like you're committing a lot. You're just literally, you could just, so another thing I want to talk about is if he ultied here, he would miss out on, if he ultied back there. Now if he ulties now, he'd miss out on 30, like 2 seconds of Midas. Or something around there. But, he'd miss out, I would say, on half a minute of Midas if he ultied to pressure that tower. Might be worth it, might not, it depends, right? Instead, he's just opting to farm, which is okay. It's fine. Like you can hit creeps. So you should ulti here, right? There's no reason not to ulti here. Yeah. And yeah, I really like how he actually does end up using his ultimate's mana. Like every time he ultis, at least he uses all its mana. He should place another E. He did not, but that doesn't matter. Like, cause like the E he would place would just be somewhere here, and it wouldn't probably matter. Maelstrom's up. 13 minutes. This is a good timing for Maelstrom, Aquila, you know, boots, raindrop. So it's pretty good. He's on his way. Especially if we look at the net worth. He's on top. And an Arc Warden that's on top of net worth this early is really, really, really hard to stop. Usually, most heroes that are actual like good farming cores are on top of him because he's a pretty slow farmer at this point of the game. But when he picks up his Maelstrom, it starts speeding up a bit. When he picks up his Travels, it speeds up. When he picks up his Mjolnir, it really speeds up. So once he gets these items, then he starts to take over the other heroes' net worths, right? Like you can see the Terrorblade's still fairly close to him. Okay, so here he's walking down for the bottom. If he's gonna keep doing this, his team needs to get back. His team is smoking. He unfortunately did not have his ultimate there, because he used it to farm the ancients. What I would have done is use my ultimate, TP at bottom, and walk with my lane middle. Walk with my team middle. But who knows, whatever, it's not every big deal. These small little movements aren't game breaking. So he is opting for Shadowblade. Okay, so let's just look at their enemy heroes, sorry, and think about what the best build would be. He's going Shadowblade, and I cannot see a reason to go Shadowblade this game. Now I understand why he's even trying to go Shadowblade. He's trying to like use it to gain map control, right? Making it so that he kind of can play like a Clinks, and he can just start to make it so that the supports are scared to be in like unsafe or areas or where they're alone, or he could just go and slowly just, you know, find them, kill them. Now Shadowblade only works if one of two things. If you can actually solo supports, then it can work, right? But it's pretty hard to solo an Oracle. It's pretty hard to solo a Kunkka. Kunkka's one of the tankier ones. And you can just like torrent and walk away, or boat and walk away. Obviously, if you force a boat, it's nice and all, but the cooldowns are pretty similar. Oracle, if you have Orchids, you can solo him in seconds. If not, it's a little harder because he can just like Fortune and your Flux and just start running. And your hero, again, is sluggish and slow. And he can ulti himself if things go really bad. And the ultimate, yes, cooldown is longer, all that stuff, but you're investing a lot of gold into an item that I don't think will do what you want it to do. That's what I'm trying to say here. Now, yeah, like everyone knows that if I play Arc Warden, I really don't like Shadowblade as an item, but I still pick it up occasionally when it works, right? And when Shadowblade works is these conditions, when it can solo supports, when it can give you the map, or I'm gonna build a Silver Edge this game, right? So against heroes like Abaddon, Bristleback, or even Spectre, I'd build it usually. Heroes that can get on top of you easily, aka Spectre, can just haunt. Shadowblade's decent because he's gonna be very slotted and he doesn't have room for like dust and stuff. So I like it against that. People also pick it up against Slark. I don't think it's the same thing. I think Slark isn't a hero that can get on top of you very easily. You'd have to actually be on the map for him to get on top of you. And you can use ease, which is why, like, it's not that, you could just sit in your base all day. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to be sitting in your base all day. But you do want to use ease to scout out a potential Slark gank, putting it on chokes and stuff. You can put it on yourself. You can see him before he even sees you. All that stuff. So that's why I don't think it's that important to get it again. It's something like Slark. But here, this game, I would not go Shadowblade. Like, I'm pretty sure Shadowblade is not the item he wants. What the item I would go for is, because and only because you're farming so fast and you're like really high in the net worth, aka the highest, I would go Travels next. Now, what would I do after Travels? I would go Mjolnir. Travels Mjolnir. That's 100%. It speeds up your farm the most. It deals with Terrorblade very easily. You'll deal so much damage in team fights, and on top of all of that, you can put your active on. Razor is just gonna be running in. He's gonna be so hard to deal with. Razor with the Mjolnir buff on him, it's going to be insane, right? So this game, I would have went Travels, then I would have went Mjolnir. After this, obviously, it depends on the game, because this is going to be like, minutes down. It's going to be like probably like 20, 21, let's just say, at this point, maybe 20. And the game could have changed in these next like 5 minutes, but if it didn't, and if it keeps going the way that I expect it to, then I would have went Blink next. Blink is such a good item on Arc Warden. It's I think it's an item that people are starting to realize is actually really good, and I see more and more people pick it up now. I really don't like Shadowblade that much. So Blink lets your ultimate go in and get deep without you having to do the same thing. Shadowblade doesn't really do that in team fights. Like, yeah, you can Shadowblade through and play it like a Clinks, all that stuff. It doesn't give you survivability the way Blink does. Blink actually does give you survivability because you're slow. You're not mobile hero. It's the same way that I don't know if you guys remember old school Tinker, the one that didn't used to build Blink. This is way back in the day, and then people started discovering Blink is really good on Tinker. And of course, yeah, Tinker can rearm, blink, all that stuff, but it lets him play so safe, and he becomes so hard to kill. It does the same thing for Arc Warden. Now, obviously, Arc Warden doesn't rearm his blink, but it lets your illusion, your ultimate, sorry, also blink, which is pretty powerful. You can be back here, and your ultimate can blink forward and like defend, even though you're not at a position, and you can get it into position while you stay like in a good position. Like, it's just such a good and powerful item. So I would go blink this game, and also it's just really hard to get for them to get on top of you if you just blink out. And also lets you get in to follow up with Faceless Void very easily, right? Like, he will jump in chrono, and you're really far back, like hard to jump, then you can blink in, bubble, and attack. So Travels, Mjolnir, Blink is probably what I would build. But yeah, he opted for this. I think people build this item too often. That's the truth. I think people build Shadowblade too often. They just go for it without really thinking about, is this item the item this game? I think it's like a game losing item if you pick it up at the wrong game. Like, this game should be pretty easy for Empire to win because of how hard they dominated and because they don't really have an Arc Warden counter. And Arc Warden is one of those series you have to counter or he wins the game. He has a Shadowblade. Okay, so this item that he just committed 2,700 into, it's pretty much the same price as Maelstrom. And look how good or how important Maelstrom is for you, right? So this item should do a lot. It should do almost as much as Maelstrom, right? Because it's pretty much costs the same. So I'm curious, let's see what it does this game. Again, like to emphasize, I never actually watched this game. This is my first watch through, and I like to do this. I don't want to like, watch it, get a biased opinion, or like know what's gonna happen and then pretend to know what I'm talking about, right? So I'd rather actually just go in blind, and if I say something that's wrong, hey, that's fine, right? I'm like commentating a blind game, and I'm doing it only in the perspective of one team, which is much easier than if I'm seeing everything. Right? If I'm seeing everything, it's very easy to make calls and stuff. But if you're not seeing everything, then you are more inclined to make some sort of like estimate. An estimate would be based on, you know, the game knowledge or instinct or whatever it is. Because what I'm seeing is kind of what Team Empire sees, right? So this push does come in here, and you have to ask yourself, can they defend it? My answer is no, just because this is down. If this was up, what you would do is you would ulti, TP it down here as they're coming in, setting up ease, bubbling the tower, auto-attacking, whatever it is, just slowing them down like crazy. And you'd have to commit a lot of resources to kill your ultimate, realistically. And it wouldn't be worth it for them. At that point, when they're already on top of the tower, it's impossible to defend that. So now he's going Travels. So far, Shadowblade, I would say he's had it for maybe 2.5 minutes, something like that, 2 minutes, and it did absolutely nothing so far. It's not giving him map control so far. So we'll see what it does after. So now he's gonna, okay, this is the use, right? He's gonna be using it to get on top of this creep wave and Kunkka. His ultimate TP's out. His ultimate's gonna be farming bottom. I mean, his main, sorry, he's gonna be farming bottom. And his ultimate should be farming this wave. Yeah, see, like, this is nothing. This is nothing. Yeah. So it didn't even do anything. It didn't even farm a wave to push it out. If anything, it like held him back. Because he didn't farm this wave, which he would have done anyways if he didn't have Shadowblade up. Shadowblade hater over here. So now he has Travels, and now he's building the Mjolnir. So he's doing the build that I was saying, except he just shoved in a 2,700 gold item in between. This is good. This is good. So when you're pushing, I like that he, you know, ultis walks away, right? The enemy team is not showing. You have no idea where they are. Your TP is down. You have a lot of trouble getting out right now, so you don't want to show your hero. So that's why I like that he ultied backed up. The only thing I would have liked to see him do is bubble with his main and walk away. That way, his ultimate, once the bubble's done, he can bubble again. So that's the one thing I would have liked to see. This way, he could use his cooldown and be able to pressure the tower for a longer duration, right? Because right now, if he comes back and bubbles, then he's sticking around way longer than he'd like to. Another thing I liked that he did is, yeah, like other than the walking away and ulting thing, is the E placement. This is exactly what you want to do. You want to place another one over here, and as the creep wave passes, you want to place behind. But generally, you want to place here, here, like just see the shrine area, and this deep one here to see if anyone's like running around, flanking around, or TPing in the trees or anything like that. And he does end up seeing the Magnus. I'm gonna pause this here because if he's trying to make a play, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. But we'll see how it ends up going. But I don't like this because they could very easily save this Magnus, right? Like very, very easily. I could see the charges coming in. And I can see the ultimates coming in. They did end up getting the kill. Good job. But I felt like that was just a dangerous play. Ooh. That was a huge torrent. So he should be able to get out no problem, but that torrent actually delays his farm a lot instead of being able to walk down this lane. Midas is up. His Midas on his ultimate should also be up. His ultimate is up, so he should be TPing at bottom. There we go. Bottom is the lane you want to TPing it to. You want to bubble, auto attack. That kill bottom, I don't think Shadowblade was like that big of a deal, but still. So far, I would still say Shadowblade did nothing. I would still say Shadowblade did nothing, but we'll see if I get proven wrong. Like, what did Maelstrom do? What did Travels do? What did Midas do? Right? All these items are doing so much work. Even Akila's doing stuff. Just the mana regen, the constant, you know, the damage, the pushing power. All that stuff together is pretty nice. I know this item has passive stats. Like 22 damage, 30 attack speed, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this. Again, ultimate's down. You can see Leshrac. They're in a very powerful position, but Chrono's down, and Magnus is down, and he's setting up E's on the TPs that are coming in. So we'll see what they do, but in his point of view, it doesn't matter whether his team takes the fight or not. In his point of view, he can easily fight by just, you know, casting his spells and just auto-attacking whenever he can. Yeah, very well done. This is exactly what I expected the fight to be. That's actually beautiful. The fact that they won this fight. Well done. Okay. There wasn't much. This was a pretty simple Arc Warden fight because your team was already running in and all you have to do is follow up on what they're doing. So you'd literally just, you know, Flux, E, bubble, auto attack, like I said. That's literally what the fight would be. Very strong split pushing right now. He's gonna have his Mjolnir, I'd say, within a minute. Like within 25. I would shrine. He has his Mjolnir. He is going Silver Edge. It's an item I don't agree with. I don't think Silver Edge is good here. But let's just look at their items real quick. He has Yules. He has Manta. Okay. So this is a hard game to itemize, because you do want either Hex or Orchids. But if you go Orchids, you know, this guy has Yules, this guy has Manta, right? They have ways to deal with it. but it's not the end of the world. The bigger problem is the Oracle, right? Even if you go Orchids or Hex and get these, you know, things off, Oracle can very easily take them off. So it's going to be a little hard. But I don't think Silver Edge is the item. To tell the truth, I think I'd still go Hex. But Thorn is like okay, but it's not that good here. Yeah, Hex would be my item. It's just really strong. Here I would ulti and get out. I would have ultied first, and then got out. Why? Because now you don't even need to TP your ultimate in. You TP the bottom instead. This is good. So far the game's still looking good, right? Whenever you want to roach, as I've talked about, you have to place E's all over the place before you even get started. It makes it really hard for the enemy team to approach you, but they do have a Terrorblade, they do have Illusion, such summons. So they can, you know, deal with your they can deal with your E's a lot easier. That's why you have to split them up really well. But okay, so I did talk with the talents. I talked with level 10 talent. At level 15, you do get that 30 damage because your hero lacks a lot of damage. And your ultimate getting 30 damage and you getting 30 damage, it's pretty strong, right? Like, it's a lot of damage for you to get. And your hero having innate damage is actually really, really, really powerful. 200 health might look like a lot, but it's really not. Like, your hero already has a lot of health, you can see that. He has 3.0 strength gain. Like, he has a lot of strength, he just has no resistance. He has no, like, physical resistance, so he dies very, very easily. Like, look at his armor, he's at 6 armor. Plus 2, you know, at 8 armor. It's just nothing, right? Like, 8 armor is nothing for an agility hero that's at level 20. This is due to the fact that it only gains 1.8 agility per level, right? So, getting an extra 200 health isn't that big of a deal. Especially for a hero that, like 30 damage can make you farm so much faster, can make you hit towers harder, can make you hit heroes harder, but 200 health doesn't make you farm faster, it doesn't make you hit heroes or buildings harder. It just makes you a little bit tankier, but not even that much tankier, because again, it's a hero that already has a lot of HP, right? Like, look at him, he's at 1800 HP with no stat item. Like, this gives you no strength, this gives you no strength, this gives you no strength, this gives you no strength. Obviously nothing, and this is the only one and it gives you 3 strength. So this is just the hero's HP at this point, really high, and I don't think the 200 health is a big deal, so that's why I always go 30 damage here. It's just better. At 20, 100 attack range is nothing compared to 10% cooldown reduction. I've talked about this a lot, so I won't talk about it much here, but like I said, 4 active abilities, you like to build active items. Your ultimate also likes to build active items. I'd use their active items, and it has 3 active abilities. So it's a lot to not take. 10% cooldown reduction is really powerful. Okay, so they're roshing here, and they have literally 0 E's set up. I don't like this. He needs to set up E's. And I know they have a Terrorblade and stuff, but even if he eats his illusions up with the E's, then that means his fighting power is minimalized, right? Terrorblade with only just Terrorblade, only, like, it's just his main hero. It's not as scary as a Terrorblade with like 4 illusions. So what I would do is just start setting up E's. Unfortunately, he's Shadowbladed and like hiding and stuff because he's scared. He doesn't know where the enemy team is. Right. Their sentry, I don't know why I can't see the sentry's range. But there we go. Okay, so the sentry sees a decent amount. Obviously it won't see any of the other approaches, but it's not the end of the world. So he did Shadowblade and walk away. I'm really hoping he starts placing E's at the entrances. I know, like, they might not contest all that stuff, and it obviously seems like they won't contest, but you never know, right? They could have already been smoked on top of you, and you have no Roche advantage at that point. Your hero gets this advantage for free, but just simply, like, having this ability. So it was an uncontested Roche, but I would have really liked him to be placing them. Midas did not Midas. Okay, so let me just slow it down. Okay, this is looking pretty bad, right? Like, let's admit it. This fight's looking really grim. It felt really forced. Like, they took Roche and then they felt like they were in a position of power. Arc Warden didn't have his ultimate, they just like charged right through. Then this was really forced. This guy dies. AA dies. This is bad, right? Like, there's no other way for me to say it. RP happens. Okay. Yeah, bubble. That's what I was gonna say. I need him to bubble. I need him to put Mjolnir on the Razor, which is exactly what he did. So that was good. It pretty much makes it so, yeah, they have to go on the illusion, and that's fine. I mean, obviously the fight overall wasn't too good, but I'm saying that the Aegis part was fine. They can go again, though. Metamorphosis is down. Arc Warden's a hero that can, like, fight frequently. I still feel like the Shadowblade did nothing. So he was gonna go Silver Edge, it seems, but then he picked up BKB. So what does BKB do for you? It makes it so that Lesh you can completely ignore him, which is nice. That's a core. It makes it so that Conquer you can pretty much ignore him. That's always nice as well. But you can't ignore the RP. It pretty much does nothing for Magnus, and it pretty much does nothing for Terrorblade. Right? And how are you gonna die this game? It's gonna most likely be Terrorblade like 3-shotting you. BKB is not the best this game. It's not too good. It's not the worst. It's not as bad as Silver Edge, I think. I think Silver Edge is worse. But yeah, Silver Edge is just useless this game. There's nothing for you to, like, there's no reason for you to build Silver Edge this game. It makes no sense at all. It's a waste of gold. So BKB is not that bad, but it's still fairly bad in my opinion. I would have just gone Hex. It's nice and simple. Like, Hex just, I know they have an Oracle, and I already talked about all this, and they can very easily build Lodestar, but like, it's definitely the item. What other items are there? Like Bloodthorn, I mean, it's not that good compared to Hex. But outside of Hex, there's not a lot of items that like peak higher than that. Right, a lot of the other items I'm looking at just aren't as good. MKB is like close. Just as just the pure damage dealing item. But Hex is, I think, better. You know, stuff that I like to build, Shivas, all that stuff, not as good this game. Hubbard's not that good here. Yeah, I'd say Hex is the item. BKB is not an item I would have gone this, like, at this slot. And if you do build BKB, then you'd want to build like very right click heavy. This was unfortunate. Alright, so I'm gonna go back and show this fight again. So this guy got Yulesed, got jumped, he TP's in, Shadowbladed, Kunkka finds him. Since this, obviously, have to BKB, you know, bubble and man fight him, which he does. So Kunkka should be pretty dead. It's taking a lot of right clicks. 5 seconds for your ultimate to be up. Now, obviously, this is scary. All of this, like everything that's going on here, is fairly scary, and your ultimate isn't up for a bit. But once your ultimate is up, your ultimate can now BKB. It can Mjolnir. It can bubble. It should be okay. Yeah. Yeah, so they had to disengage. Like I was saying, your ultimate's up in 5 seconds. And, like, it would have been really hard for them to deal with it. I would like to see Mjolnir creeps more as well. Like, as he TPs out, just Mjolnir creep. Obviously here it didn't matter as much, but in general. Like here, you see how he's walking away. Just Mjolnir creep. He could farm this safely, and technically farm this safely. This should TP bottom. Oh no, he's going shot, Silver Edge. Oh no. Silver Edge is not the item. BKB was not even the item, but it's not the worst. Like I said, at least BKB makes it so 2 of the heroes do nothing to you. Technically 3 if the heroes do nothing to you. No, I'm not gonna say that way. It's 2 of the heroes. 2 of the heroes do nothing to you. Because Oracle still does what he wants. Oracle's like still able to save teammates and stuff. It's literally just Konka and Leshrac. I also would like to see him placing E's more. Like, this ward is not safety, right? So I'd like to see him placing not wards, I was saying. Let's see him placing spark rates more. Like, just placing one whenever. Just all over the place. A lot of people don't do that, but... So they look like they want to push this tower. He is alone right now. Yeah, he has to BKB. Okay, let's go over that again. So, I wanted them to place E's. This is so that you could see if enemies are around, right? You constantly place E's across this area. And I know he was hiding here, but it's like, it makes it really hard for another enemy to follow up on this jump. So that's the first thing. Second thing is he's completely alone over here with his main, right? There's no reason for you to do this. You just Mjolnir the creeps and walk away, and this will always push the next wave. The only way for this to not push the next wave is if the enemy heroes are there, right? So it makes very little sense. Your whole team's not with you. I don't like this him walking down the lane thing. Now the third thing is, let me just put this away. He's just straight up showing his hero. I don't like this. Even if you are gonna walk, just like stay hidden and Mjolnir creeps. Like, you don't want to show your main like this. The only time you want to show your main is if they're showing, or if you know where they are, or if your team is behind you, you know, and something, right? His team's not behind him. Like, it just makes no sense for him to be doing what he's doing here. He gets stunned out of the fog, and I found it weird that he didn't just like. So he BKB'd. He shadow bladed, got dusted. Now his TP was up, right? So his TP was down the whole time. And he's just dead, right? And so is he. Yeah, this death should never happen. This death should never happen, and that death is so huge. Like, he has no buyback, he's dead for 70 seconds. 70 seconds is a very, very, very long time. This death was such a throw. This should never happen. And on top of all of that, he's building Silver Edge. So we'll see what this death causes. But it's most likely going to be Rax, right? Like, obviously. You just would look. It's going to be Rax. It's really bad for them. It's really bad for them that he died there. And he bought Silver Edge to not have buyback. Like, it makes no sense to me. He bought an item that's, in my opinion, a bad item this game to not have buyback. Like, the only time I buy an item to not have buyback is if it's something that's just game breaking. Something like Hex. Or something like Orchids, or, you know, whatever, against a specific lineup. Those items are worth it to not have buyback. But Silver Edge is not one of those items. This game, again, I'll say it that way. Yep, and it does end up in them being Raxed. And a Razor buyback, by the way. I want to also emphasize that it does end up in a Razor buyback. So that was really bad. I feel like this death was just such a throw. So I was talking about his itemization and all that stuff, but in the end, at least his play wasn't throwing. This was a throw, though. Him walking down the lane alone, dying without buyback, losing racks, forcing Razor buyback. It was really bad. Like, overall, he's been playing fine, right? So now, yes, ulti's top, you know, standard stuff, keeping lanes out. But yeah, I never see Mjolnir creeps, and he needs to do it more often. He needs to also place E's. Just placing E's everywhere. It's very important. Like, even if you don't think they're there, it's just like you're full mana the whole time. Might as well just place E's. Place E's everywhere. Get into the habit of it. Mjolnir creeps. Mjolnir creeps. This thing has been up for at least 5 minutes now. Mjolnir creeps, so you don't have to show your hero. Now he's going dataless. So like I said, if you do go BKB, you're gonna tend to build more of a right-click oriented build, because then your hero can actually just stand there auto-attacking. But I wouldn't have built BKB this game. Not early, at least. Wouldn't have been like my third item or whatever this was. But that's fine. I'm not hating on the BKB. I'm hating on the Silver Edge. So he should get buyback. Because if he dies, they lose the game. At least he's gonna get the tower, right? Yeah. He forced glyph. That's fine. He's going MKB, yep. I don't like dataless, but who cares? I think MKB would just be better. Why is MKB better? A, you can stop TPs, which is always nice. B, the mini stunts from you and your ultimate constantly ticking. It's pretty nice as well. If you see like an Arc Warden with him and his ultimate, I need to back up obviously because of what's going on here. So if you see you and your ultimate both in a bubble auto attacking, it actually does a lot of damage when MKB's up. MKB is one of those items that I don't see enough people picking it up. I know it's a passive item the same way as like Scotty's one of the more overrated items. Even though I don't see people pick up that much, but I still see them picking up too much. I feel like Scotty is just not that good. Like, it's not the worst, but it's not the best either. And it's picked up too often. So, let me just make sure it's at ×1. Yep. Okay, Silver Edge is in. His ultimate is down. His team already started the fight. Terrorblade's on low ground with an MKB, so it doesn't even matter. Ultimate's in 7 seconds. Bubbling is not actually a defensive ability anymore. He's manning up. His ultimate's up. Sunders. Okay, yeah, that's what I was just about to say. I don't like that you're manning up. I didn't like it at all. He was just like manning up on them. RP was still up. Buyback's down. And he's 100% dead, right? He's just 100% dead. There's no way they let him live, you know. They like lost vision for a second or two and he just started walking out. Alright, so let me just go back again. So here, he was just like straight up manning up, right? And this guy still has RP. So what I would do is, I would have been backing up already. I wouldn't have even gone in too much. And I would have just waited for my ultimate, which had 4 seconds left. And then my ultimate goes in, it Mjolnirs itself, it bubbles, it auto attacks, whatever it is that it needs to do. It BKBs, and you are at the back ready to either go in or out, depending on how the fight's going. But this here, like taking this fight when your buyback is down, is such a bad idea. Just like taking this here when your buyback was down, buying Silver Edge when your buyback was down. Yeah, they almost lost the kill. Almost lost the kill. I believe they just finished the game here. Well, at least on the other side, right? Like, they have a Leshrac. Leshrac pushes fast. They have a Terrorblade. Terrorblade hits buildings pretty hard. I don't see them stopping this push. GG, they're calling it. Okay, so they call GG. So when I saw the early game, when I saw the free farming Arc Warden, when I saw the early Midas, I saw the the Maelstrom timing, I saw his team winning fights, and then I also saw him like winning fights. Like I thought this game was a win. The first I'd say about 15 minutes were looking really good, and I was pretty sure they were gonna win it. The way it was going, but then I think it came down to two things. Obviously, I'm again only focusing on him and not the general game. His gameplay, right? His item choices, his game decisions, all that stuff. His item choice, I think, was poor. Obviously, it's what everyone else does, though. Everyone does the Silver Edge shenanigans. I think it was a waste of money, right? This item did not pay for itself at all, the way the other items paid for themselves. Like, these items paid for themselves. Even the BKB paid for itself more than this item. BKB wasn't the worst. Again, I was saying, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. It was like in between. It was an item that if you do go BKB, then you start building more right-click oriented. Not Silver Edge. Silver Edge is just not that good of an item. But here, what ended up happening is not just the item choice, but the decision making of like showing his main and walking down lanes and stuff. He was like playing very cocky, like almost as if he's untouchable. And he's a hero with like 7 armor. You can see he has 7 armor. He's level 23 agility hero with 7 armor. Like, it's just pathetic, right? Like your hero's really fragile, so you kind of have to play more cautious. You kind of can never show your main. And the number one thing I wanted to see more out of him is Mjolniring creeps and spamming E. He did not do that nearly enough. You have to Mjolnir creep, so you never have to show your hero, and you have to spam E. And this thing was almost up all the time on his main, and on his ultimate, he was using it on himself a lot, when he could also put on, like, let's just say his ultimate TP'd up here, could put on the creep wave as it's dying, right? That's easy. But his main was almost never using it. At least his ultimate was using it. But his main was just like almost never using it, and I didn't like that. Also, even in team fights, he wasn't like putting it on his Razor and stuff, and he wasn't there half the time. He was always like late to the team fight. But if you're late to a team fight, it's better to just not go in and die. Like, if it didn't go in and die, I think this game would have been going for a while still. And it still would have been anyone's game. Just because, yeah, they lost bottom because of a misplay, but then they lost mid because of a misplay, and pretty much they called GG because of a misplay. So, nothing against the player himself. He's an amazing player, obviously. Like, 100 times better than me. But just specific Arc Warden mechanics and Arc Warden decision making and Arc Warden item builds, I feel like were a bit off, right? Talents were fine. The skilling, as I said, Flux wouldn't be that big of a deal, but that's fine again because the game went on for like 20 more minutes than it should have, in my opinion. And then, all this stuff I've talked about, the spacing I've talked about. I don't know, I just thought this game would be a win. And it ended up being just like one of those standard Arc Warden throws that you see all the time happen. Every time I see like an Arc Warden get really farmed, this ends up happening. They just like lose a few team fights. Hero's super squishy, super like fragile glass cannon build, and ends up just getting caught once, dying, game's over. That's traditionally how I see the hero get played always. And this is why I guess he just never gets picked. Right? He's barely picked. He's like 10th pick quality. So maybe we'll see him on the stage more, like the playoffs. Maybe he'll get picked more in the playoffs and no one like wants to play him in group stages. Maybe that's the case. I mean, one team does get eliminated this year, so it is different. So for the teams at the top, sure, they won't care as much. Because if you're like at the top, yeah, you play an easier team, but you're gonna be winner bracket, right? But the teams that are closer to the bottom, especially the ones that are really close to getting eliminated, they have to be like going all out, right? They can't like hold back in group stages. They have to go all out. And if they know how to play the hero, then they, I think, would play it. But they're just not picking it. Because you could get eliminated, right? Last team gets eliminated. This is the first TI that had this. All the other TIs had 16 teams, and then the bracket is 8-8. But this one is 18 teams. The bracket's still 8-8. 2 teams get eliminated right off the bat. There's a 17th and 18th slot. But anyways, it's not about that. It's just about this game. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I don't know. I rambled on a lot. But hopefully see this hero get picked up more. I'm actually really interested to see it get played by different players with different play styles, and I'm really excited to see it get like what type of drafts they pick it into, and if they continue to play it a lot of short lane, or if they start playing it a bit more in the mid lane. I can talk about that for real quick. So the short lane versus mid lane thing, more often than not, you should play short lane. The only times you should play mid lane is if you know the mid matchup and it's an easier one, right? Or if it's one that you can abuse, right? Then you play it mid. But other than that, you traditionally play it short, guarantee his farm, and just snowball out of control. So as always, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment below, and if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to ask. Bye.